So yes, I've bought an Xbox 360, which was launched in 2005 in 2023. Am I mad? Why would I do this? Should you do this? Let's find out. So, should you buy an Xbox 360? A games console that was first launched in 2005, making the technology now 18 years old, and was last manufactured in 2016, which in 2023 was 7 years ago. What are the advantages and disadvantages of purchasing such a system? First of all, for those unfamiliar, this is not going to be an in-depth review video, as that is not its purpose. But for the uninitiated and for context, let's have a very brief history of the Xbox and then unbox this particular example and have a very quick look at the hardware. But before I do that, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Games Galaxy Megastore in Concert, County Durham, of course, England, where I purchased this from. They have a huge selection of systems and games with friendly and knowledgeable staff. I can't recommend them enough even if you're just browsing. Cheers guys! The Xbox 360 was a 7th generation gaming console launched in November 2005, replacing the original Xbox and competing with Sony's PlayStation 3 and Nintendo's highly successful Wii. I won't bore you with tech specs, just to say that over its lifetime it saw 3 generations, the original, S or Slim and the E, of which this is an example. The system was replaced in 2016 by the Xbox One. Oh, the launch of that. What a disaster. And went on to sell over 84 million units worldwide. I think that's as much as we need to get into that side of it. So next, let's quickly unbox this and then we'll discuss why the A came to exist and why I came to buy one. So on the outside of the box, we have the usual advertising to catch your eye and excite you about the gaming experience waiting inside. And it certainly worked on me at the time, although I bought a Wii. Hey, I was excited about new ways to control games at the time, but we are not too excited about the box. But what is inside the box? Well, it turns out not much apart from the console, the power brick, its power lead, the controller and an instruction manual. That's it. I do like the fact that they have used no foam in the packing of this. Enough of that, let's get on to the important things. On the front of the console is the power button, the DVD drive eject button and the DVD drive itself for those physical games. To the right hand side is this flap, which you can push, revealing 2 more USB ports, and to the left of that is the Wi-Fi on off button. On the rear, along with the usual power cord and by this generation HDMI port, we have 2 more USB ports, a dedicated AV port for the Kinect, which shall be the subject of another video, and a LAN port, good idea. On the right hand side is something that is unusual, but very useful. I'll call it the hard drive dock. Basically, you can grab yourself a hard drive, put it in a special caddy and slam it in there. That easy. If you don't want to do that, you can just use an external drive in a USB caddy. That suits me just fine, as I have one already. On the top is the venting for the fan, and it really does need one, as this thing shifts quite a volume of quite hot air when you're pushing it hard. Inside is a small dragon that uses dragon magic to turn this physical disc into game energy that is then transmitted onto the screen. Then when you press eject, the dragon turns the gaming energy back into the disc, which it then spits out for you to put into storage or something like that. But the fact that the dragon lives in there explains all the heat that comes out of the top. Just don't forget to game regularly or the poor little bugger may pop his little clogs. The controller is this wireless thingy-majig. Initially, because it's wireless and I have a PS4, I assumed it was rechargeable, so was looking around for a cable to charge it with. I then noticed the battery on the bottom was strangely large, eventually figuring out it holds 2 AA batteries, which in my mind is better than the rechargeable option, as you're not buying expensive batteries and doing microsurgery when your battery eventually degrades, and recharging is instant. The rest of the controller is standard Xbox stuff. It's very good. If you've used one, you know your way around it. I'm not going to go into it. I'm really not. Now, regarding the online functionality of this, and this still does log on to the Xbox Live, and you can still purchase and download games for it, which took me by surprise. I'm not going to go into the other online services such as TV and movies, as I think for most people buying this hardware at this point in time, you're going to be buying this primarily for games. So that's where our focus shall remain. That said, should you want me to do a full review of this system and its hardware and its remaining online functionality, then please leave a comment to let me know. With the system, I bought the following games. You'll notice a lack of sporting games. This is because sports usually means football, and well, do I look like I'm interested in football? So, as I said earlier, this is not an original. This is an E. So, what is an E? Well, the E is the third and last generation of the hardware, being a refinement and cheapening of the hardware found in the Model S or Slim. Microsoft said that the E would run quieter than the S. It also came in a smaller package designed to resemble the Xbox One, which was launching as a 360's replacement on the same launch day. With the E, you also lose the fifth USB port of the S, and the touch and power buttons were being replaced with physical ones, likely in an attempt to keep costs down. So here you have on launch day two new consoles from different generations simultaneously being launched. But why? Well, if you consider that the Xbox One launched at a price of $499, whereas the 360E had a starting price of $199, things start to become clear from that perspective. I think also that Microsoft were playing the odds game, because the One, for many reasons, such as always having to be on and connected at a time where internet connectivity, even in its home region, was sketchy at best, would be controversial. If you need any more evidence that that was the case, this was a Microsoft representative's comment at the launch.
And fortunately, we have a product for people who aren't able to get some form of connectivity. It's called Xbox 360.
Right. So stick with 360. That's your message if you don't, like it?
If you have zero access to the internet, that is an offline device.
Okay, so now you have some context. Why did I purchase this one in 2023? And why the E? Well, as you know, this is a gaming channel. We like to show gaming stuff, so one of the primary reasons is that without spending a fortune, we could have some old games we could stream live for people. This would do the job. Another big factor is sort of investment and the current market, which is why I'm standing here with a box one. You see, we acquired the system for just £45 boxed, £15 box for the Connect. It is complete, and maybe yes, they will drop slightly more in price, but I think basically this is as cheap as these systems are ever going to get. Prices may rise slowly, but they will rise, and box systems are always the ones that go for much more in the end. Why the E? Well, we have been looking at the Xbox 360s for a while, and I think if you get the original one, you're really taking a gamble now and in the future. You see, that red ring of death thing could strike at any time. It's okay to buy one that doesn't currently have a red ring of death, but this was never intended to be a purchase that's going to stay boxed on a shelf looking pretty. Nope, this is a working machine that is going to get regular use. So I needed a system that, yes, although it is a machine and it can fail at any time, the chances of this one failing compared to the original are vanishingly small, I hope. Another reason we got the E was, to be honest, a bit of a failing. You see, when these came out, I really loved the styling of the S. But when we started shopping around, I completely forgot about the existence of the S. I had not done any research on models, and yes, completely forgot about it. Oh well, in my eyes, that was a much better looking console, but in the end, this lives most of its life hidden away under my computer desk anyway. And I think even if you're not getting in this to be a long-term investment or to make YouTube videos with, there are other reasons you may want to dive in and invest. For a start, and the most blindingly obvious, price. As I said, this boxed £45 for the console, £15 for the Kinect, and at the moment I'm paying around £1.50 for most games. Sure, there are rare games that are going to cost you a lot more, but most games now are in charity shops and are available for less price than a portion of chips, battered sausage and mushy peas. What can I say? I'm British! And look at this, I'm killing demons.
Get us out of here! You ain't gonna tell me to...
Racing at high speed. And exploring vast worlds with what are still achingly beautiful graphics at a fraction of the cost of modern hardware. What is wrong with that? So what I'm saying here is that if you're on a budget or more of a casual gamer, so don't want to fork out the price of the latest and greatest hardware, or if you're sick of DLC or downloadable content, don't get me wrong, these games still have DLC, but this is from an age where software houses were just dipping their toes into that pond. So unlike modern systems, you're not forced to do updates, you're not forced to shell out more of your hard-earned to pay for elements in a game to advance in a game that you've already paid for. If you just want a first person or racing game experience and really don't care about the latest version, the graphics on this are not very far behind the current generation. And with the fun of the game, and unless you're using it on a huge screen, it's unlikely you'll take much notice of the difference. Have you recently bought an Xbox 360? Why did you buy one? What do you think of them? Have you been caught out by the red ring of death if you bought an original? Let me know your stories in the comments. Also, if you have any other gaming subjects you'd like me to cover in a future video, let me know and I will credit you. So for the reasons I've given, although some hardcore gamers with deep pockets may consider this hardware obsolete, I would say for a lot of people, for the various reasons I've stated, this system will be relevant for a long time yet.